But he could never please me as he could.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Fandom Outpost, or welcome back to the Fandom Outpost if you're a return person. As always, I am 1/3 your host. I am Mark.
I am Jim.
And I'm Bob. Hi everybody, how's it going?
Hey guys, how are you guys?
Yeah, we're going to dive into our feelings and thoughts and opinions on Nosferatu, right? The December 25th release from Robert Eggers. And we haven't really all talked about it very much. Jim and I a little bit on the side, but just some brief comments we shared. And we just wanted to get together and see, throw this at the wall and see what sticks.
Well, I'm going to start out by asking, because I don't know. Bob, I got to hear your thoughts on this thing. I gotta.
Yeah, I was super hyped up about this for about a year. And we kept posting on our Facebook page about it coming up. And before I get into that, I'd like to ask you all to please like and subscribe to the Fandom Outpost before we go on too far. We'd really appreciate that. But yeah, I was really hyped up about this and had been posting on our Facebook page about the, images behind, what's coming on. The first image, the second image, the third image. So I was pretty geeked up about this and went and saw it on the weekend after Christmas. And, there's something to be said about about overhyping things. And I think I may have fallen into that trap because there's certain aspects of it that didn't live up to the expectations I had. And that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about because I'm still trying to process why I feel that way because it's a beautiful movie and it's cinematically it's just perfection of technical cinematography and everything. But the thing that got me the most was the story. I guess I just expected a different twist from Robert Eggers and just like his own take on the Orlok tale. And it just started to hit beat by beat what I knew. And I kind of was like, oh, I know what's going to happen. Oh, I know what's going to happen. And that kind of took me away because I kept comparing in my head to the Coppola, Bram Stoker's Dracula from, what was it, 92 or whatever?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and I just kept comparing it in my head. Like, oh, they did that. Oh, they did this. And then, oh, that's kind of like that. So I wish it would have been a little different. I don't know. I like to hear what you guys have to say, but that's my main complaint. Is, it just didn't twist it enough to make it like, oh, that's really different. It's I don't know. But we'll talk about it. There are some different things. It's not exactly like some of the earlier versions, and we'll compare some of the older versions too as we get into this. I watched the Northman over the last few days, just to kind of, because that's the one I hadn't seen.
Oh, that I think that's his best, but
yeah, it really blew me away.
I
mean, it had his stamp on it, and
Yep.
the story was like pretty accessible.
Yeah, I champion that one all the time.
That was really good, and I was just like with the Nosferatu. I wonder if he was just constrained by the story of having to slavishly work to the Nosferatu, to the Dracula lore story.
I want to chime in. I don't think he was because there's clearly things that he added, like Willem Dafoe's pseudo Van Helsing character. I don't believe that's part of the original 22 version of Nosferatu. It was interesting. I mean, I feel he was there for exposition. Is that the word we're using? To explain to the audience what's going on. Not like we couldn't, but and the whole thing about, all right, I'll just give mine. I guess I'll just roll into it. I didn't like the aspect, or I'm confused at the aspect of her. And I don't know her character, Lily Rose Depp.
Ellen
creating him like she calls him forth. He's not. His story is, she called me from the grave and stuff, and supernatural this, supernatural that. So it's not. They use the vampire mythology, but it's not the same way you would expect a vampire to be. You know what I mean? Right. She wanted this somebody to love her and give her attention and stuff like that. So
it has a lot to do with it's a psychosexual tale because it's about her repressing her sexual desires, I believe. And she opens it up in her dreams to him.
Right.
And he jumps right in. You know what I mean? So this is like the whole thing.
But I didn't get because she was saying something when she was 15 or something like that, and she called him forth. So my thing was, I didn't feel like he was always that dude that was just living up in the castle. Like he had been called by her dreams and then just had to chill until I guess, I don't know, she got old enough and he could exert more power over her, you know what I mean? And put his plan into motion.
Now, is it different than Bram Stoker's where she is like the reincarnated love of his past?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
it's not like that, right?
No, I didn't compare it to Bram Stoker's. I mean, I compare it to the 22 Nosferatu, which is that story. So the Bram Stoker's Dracula is really, Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula is pretty good. It's one of the most accurate interpretations on film of the novel Dracula, which is pretty good. It had all the right characters and stuff like that in it. But like Nosferatu has no Van Helsing. He has no core group and stuff like that. It's just that creature wants to come to London. In the original 22 version, he gets Hutter, Germany. Yeah, he's in Germany and he wants to come to.
No.
He's yes. I'm sorry. He's a Romanian. He wants to come to Germany. You're right. And it's all about that. And then he sees the pendant and, oh, is that your wife? And I guess I'm going to lust after her and I'm going to go after her. It's a very simple story, but Dracula is better at characterization. Nosferatu is very, I mean, look at the time that it was made and what they're trying to tell and stuff. You want to compare it to something, go back and compare it to 78's Werner Herzog's Nosferatu. Boy, that's a
79.
That's one that you should compare it to, because that was Herzog was like, I'm really going to do my own take.
Yeah, we should talk about that event in a few here. Yeah, but I want to get to Jim too.
Yeah, what do you think, Jim?
Oh,
I'm sorry. Sorry. The final thing I want to add was that I thought I wanted a monster movie. I wanted a monster movie. I didn't get that. He's a terrifying creature that feeds on others. Nothing supernatural about it. It didn't feel supernatural, and he didn't feel like a monster. He wasn't. I mean, he's intimidating, but I think it's because he got the voice and he's a big dude and he was intimidating. Whatever. I wanted more monster.
Like you guys, I was really hyped on it. I was trying not to watch a lot of trailers for it after the first big one dropped, and this is my first Eggers film, so I'm going in blank. So I haven't seen any of his other work. So
okay.
And I know Mark was big on Norseman, and Bob, I know you were championing Lighthouse, and so I'll go back and check those out. I from all the interviews with the director and stuff, he found Nosferatu at a really young age, the silent film at a really young age, and it spurred him to become, a director. So I like that fact. I like Eggers' story. He turned it into a play at one point, but I was Bob, you had mentioned, I was waiting for his special take on it that was something more than a fairly straightforward remake or reimagining.
Right. I mean, it could have been a totally different tale, and I would have been happy with it, I think.
I guess his take on it is that they were really pushing it's this gothic love story, which I didn't get at all. I felt that I was watching Ellen. The movie should have been called Ellen because it was all about her.
Right. Oh, definitely.
And Nosferatu was kind of in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what does he get? 16 minutes of screen time or something like that,
Right.
I heard.
And you
Like
can,
very
be in a movie and be a title character and not be in it that much and still
well,
have an
he
impact.
ate up I mean, every scene he was in,
Oh no, he
clearly
dominates every scene
he
he's
Yeah,
in.
dominates that,
performance was
Yeah.
that very first performance with Holt that's the movie right there. I was like, "Oh, like that was really good."
The movie really worked for me when Nicholas Holt's character Thomas got to the Romanian village,
Right.
and all the stuff in the castle is great. And then as soon as we left that, it was just a series of, oh, I'm having a nightmare, he's coming. Oh, I'm having a nightmare, he's coming. Oh, I'm having a nightmare, he's coming. And it was like, okay, I get it,
Yeah.
And then he kind of shows up, and then that's it. The movie comes alive when Willem Dafoe shows up. His character, it becomes interesting. I mean, I guess I wasn't not interested in it, but as I watched it, I was just kind of waiting for it to go somewhere, maybe a different spin or something super unique. And maybe that's my fault because those are my expectations I was putting on it. So it's a movie, like you guys said. Like you guys said, it's beautifully crafted, and the actors do very well in the parts that they're given. I'm just not sure I'm on board with the parts that they're given. So
if we cut to the core of it, it is about sexual desire
that's
and
vampires.
a woman taking control over her male counterparts is what basically, because they all discount her through the whole movie until
Right.
Defoe comes in and
Yeah.
he's the one that gives her like, yes, that is happening to you. And no, unbind her and let him, let her into the, mix of what's going on.
Right. Right.
And then that's when she realizes what she has to do. And she's the one that spoilers, everyone. She's the one that makes the sacrifice.
Right.
So that's the cutting to the core of what everything is going on. It's about her taking agency over her own desires.
Right. And that follows pretty similar with the Herzog one.
It follows the 22 one too. I mean, she's very,
that
this is I'm the one that has to do what I have to do and stuff. So, whereas Dracula, and we were referencing the Coppola one, but Dracula is Mina. Is it Murray? Mina Murray. She's infected with his blood. They have to kill the infector to cure her. So the Mina character in Dracula is not. I got to open myself up and draw him in, and no, he's pretty much. I'm gonna do what I want, because I'm the Lord of Evil, that kind of thing.
Is it more Van Helsing then? That's the counterpart to Dracula then?
Yeah, well, he's the driving force in Dracula, where he's like, "This is evil," and it's almost similar to this Eggers Nosferatu version, where he comes in and he's like, "Here's what's going on," because in the time frame that all these are set, everybody is, I don't understand. I don't know what could possibly be happening. That's why you can't set that in modern times, because movies that do that kind of stuff, you have to either take your zombie movies. Most zombie movies or series don't use the word zombie because the universe itself treats it like they've never had that as far as motion pictures or source material.
It doesn't
It
exist.
doesn't exist until that plot point exists for a movie or TV series. It's the same way with vampire movies, unless they're just generic ones where people are like, "Nah, come on, that's not real." Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And then it unfolds from there. But in the classics, like the real classics, like Dracula and stuff like that, they treat it as if they've never heard of that before, and that's why the Van Helsing character, the Willem Dafoe character, has to do so much exposition for these people around, because he has to lend validation to that girl freaking out all the time and stuff, and they're just like, "No, she's sick."
This Eggers version was really pushing the whole occult angle, like the hair knocked, Thomas's boss. He had all that going on, and it's like, did he summon Nosferatu somehow? I mean, how does he get the idea that this guy in the middle of nowhere wants to come to town?
I think Orlok has been planning this, like Mark said, since she was 15 or whatever,
right?
And is installing this plan.
Because according to the Eggers lore, she summoned him somehow, so
Right. Her
I
hitting
can't.
puberty severed him.
Yeah, he just, as like Bob said, was she, I can't even say it. She awoke something,
right. Sure.
in herself. So she's like, I need a plaything, or I need somebody to love me. And the performances are outstanding.
Yeah, and let's just give some kudos to the positives of this, because it's
there's not a weak link in it. So
no, and Defoe steals the show kind of more than Orlok. I mean,
he does. Yeah,
he gives like a shot of adrenaline when you need it.
Oh my God, yeah.
Got to give a shout out to Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's the draw for me. I loved his character.
Right.
I loved the unhingedness and the snootiness, and
he was the more interesting of the human characters, right?
Yeah. And I'm a snob. Get out. I got money. Like, I just.
Right. Look, I looked after your crazy wife for, my house is destroyed. My family is gone. And
I loved it. And then, of course, tragically, what's going to happen to befall his family, of course,
Right.
Because he doesn't want to believe all that. Those are Eggers' take on a lot of stuff. So he did put his stamp on things. But I have read, and I agree, there's certain things that we wish Eggers would have kept. The whole coming up out of a coffin scene. Yeah. Everybody really wanted to see that. The Demeter.
Yeah, that's just a blip. It's a good blip, but it's a blip. You see that and you wanted more, right?
Yeah, no walking on the deck and stuff. There was just stuff that people were like, we would have loved to see Eggers take on those classic 22 shots that they did, or that Murnau did.
That's a good segue into, let's talk about Nosferatu himself.
First question I have for you guys on that is, would it have made a difference if you saw him in the trailers?
No. Well, I take that back. I answered too quickly. Only because they would have been like, that's not Nosferatu. They wouldn't have heard all the thing about the Romanian lords and him wanting to be accurate to the time period and stuff like that. They would have just seen it. There's a shot that I did have spoiled for him. It was a side view, and I didn't see the hair. Yeah, it was all balding, and, when I saw the mustache, and I'm like, I don't care. Dracula in the novel has that huge mustache.
Yeah, but that's Dracula in the novel.
Yeah, he's got long flowing hair.
That's not Nosferatu.
I get it. But Dracula came first. So even Murnau copying Dracula, putting his own spin on it. But,
Sure, but here we are over 100 years later. And there's a thing that makes Nosferatu and makes Dracula Dracula.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm kind of, I like the fact that, someone committed on cinema, film, that the historic picture we all see of Vlad the Impaler, right?
Yeah.
So that's, I would love to see, what if somebody took a Bela Lugosi and made him up like that to see what he looked like? And so that's neat, but it's also not Nosferatu.
If this was Eggers' Dracula.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, dude.
Then I'd be all over that.
I'd be all over that. It's like, if he had done that, and with all the other characters and even the psychosexual stuff, I would have been like, wow, that's a Dracula right there. Right. That would have been phenomenal. But, when Tobe Hooper and those guys create Barlow as a homage to Nosferatu, and then you got your remake of Salem's Lot, the same thing. You kind of want that look. You kind of don't want it to stray.
There's a reason that look has been in popular culture for 100+ years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's what makes him different from Dracula.
Yes, even in the new Salem's Lot, the HBO.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he had that similar look.
Could that have influenced Eggers, where he was like, everybody wants, because it's all in the popular culture?
Maybe that's his curveball. So
yeah, he's like, I'm gonna make him more terrifying.
He prides himself in historical accuracy. I mean,
right.
So people that I respect and value their work and art-wise and all that, they're all over that look.
Yeah. So Robert Eggers to me is oh my God, just do a blank. Who did like Zodiac and all that?
Fincher.
Yeah, Seven and stuff. So if you look at their body of work. It's not super extensive, but it's banger after banger after banger. Like these two guys don't miss. And even this one's not a miss. It may be polarizing, but it's not a miss. I mean,
right.
It should be up for some awards. It really should. The cinematography alone and stuff. Yeah. So, but they don't miss. Even whatever they're doing, either it's their own take or not own take. And I think this is the first one he's forayed into not his own material. Correct? If I'm correct. Should have done my research, but I didn't.
Yeah, well, you got The Witch, The Lighthouse, and The Northman. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and his stuff he's hitting bangers. All those movies are super good. So. Moody, atmospheric, and mind challenging. So the fact, though, that he picked material that was, say, close to his heart, but was existing material, this might be where he wants to maybe deviate or go back to his own stuff. Although his next movie,
we got a couple.
I'm not going to introduce that here. So.
Well, I'm happy this exists, and I'm happy. I don't begrudge people that super love it. So, I mean, it's going to keep Hot Topic alive for another 10 years. And then it's
this generation's Nosferatu. And you can't take that away from them because,
Did you say Hot Topic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, a new generation's, like we said, the Bram Stoker was 35 years ago or whatever. So it's
oh, my God. Oh, my God.
You can feel old now. You're right. But yeah, I'm super happy that this exists. I love the fact that people are loving it and really getting into it.
Absolutely.
Enough that they want to
especially young people. Young people have really embraced this movie. And that's what Bob just hit it on the head. This is theirs. It's not mine, but it's theirs. I wasn't alive when mine was out, but you know what I mean?
It spurred classic Nosferatu to show up on Saturday Night Live. If you've seen that,
Jesus.
Oh yeah, that was good. That's pretty good.
And what remakes or reimaginings always do is that it might point someone who's new to all this material. It might point them to go back and check out the ones that came before.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like look what it did for Bob when that Salem's Lot came out. He went and read the book. That was awesome.
I've heard a couple things. I've heard the thing that Bob had posted on our Facebook page, which is apparently he's tied to a sequel to Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Come
on, man.
And I love Labyrinth. Actually, I saw it a ton of times because it's got creatures and puppets.
Absolutely.
And I paid to see it because it wasn't at our theater. It has a hurdle that I don't think it can overcome because I don't know what actor would fill this in. It won't have David Bowie in it, and his presence is the driving force behind that film.
That movie, with the exception of the Creature Workshop from Henson, Bowie is that movie. So who else? I mean,
I don't have somebody current day.
Maybe you get an unknown. I don't know, but
that's if they continue with that character, which it seems like if I'm going to want a sequel, I want to see the Goblin King. I'm not really worried about.
Right. Well, listen to that name for Christ's sakes, the Goblin King. I mean, why wouldn't you want to carry on something like that? That's awesome.
I mean, you might as well tell me you're going to remake Legend, and I don't have Tim Curry playing Darkness, right?
Yeah, that's a tough.
Maybe it'll be Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, I'm sure it will be Timothy Chalamet as the Goblin King.
Goblin King.
What if it's Bill Skarsgård as?
I thought about that. I did. They should have skipped Nosferatu and let him do that. He's much better with that one, I think that would have been phenomenal. So
now I've also seen reported that he's going to have a werewolf movie out next Christmas.
Yeah, that's that WERWL.
Yeah, we're going to spell it funny, like the Vivitch and then werewolf. And if we go for historical accuracy, and I've seen pictures, online of woodcuts of old werewolves where it just looks like a guy on all fours,
Yeah.
He's got a kid in his mouth. But Bob and I just saw that movie. It's called The Wolfman. Or I'm sure it's called Wolfman. It's not The
Wolfman. Yeah. And for those who don't know, please check out our review on our channel.
Right. So
go ahead and watch it. Let these two guys amaze you with their opinions about that movie. Yeah. So,
All right. Well, back to Nosferatu, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's.
yes, all right.
So as far as his look goes, I didn't like the comb over. The mustache was, you know,
18th century Romanian lord. I get
I
it.
know why it's
Yeah,
there.
we get it.
Loved his cloak. Loved all that.
Right,
You
right.
know, we saw when he was a dead corpse in his casket. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's
Right.
got an ancient penis." You know, whatever. They were,
Nosferatu uncut.
yeah, uncut. He wasn't circumcised. So, my thought is that Thomas finds him in the casket, and then the next shot is Thomas running down the hall, and Nosferatu's coming down the hall clothed.
Yeah.
So I couldn't
yeah.
get the image out of my head of him going, "Oh shit," and having to get like dressed and put his boots on and.
Okay.
There was a few time things.
But it's supernatural. I mean, I'm talking about a guy who's a living corpse. So
Right. But I'm saying the part where the children are killed by Nosferatu.
Oh yeah.
Like a minute later, there's a huge funeral going on.
Right. Time passages.
But he's only given her 3 days, so it's like it had to happen within a day.
Right.
Because it was like the second night or whatever.
Quickie funeral.
Yeah, I mean, maybe because the plague was around, and they had to get everybody in.
Yeah, so that's one of the things where Nosferatu really differs. Yeah, Nosferatu, the character and the story of that really differs from Dracula in that, the ship comes and it's all about the rats and the plague, and he's death and he's descending upon the town. Where in Dracula, the ship comes and everybody's dead on the ship, but all of a sudden he has to mingle with society so that he can get Lucy.
Yeah,
and
leaves as a wolf, I believe,
right.
off the ship, so he can't be tracked or whatever, and then just mingles in society.
Right.
Which
so
is, yeah,
this Nosferatu at any of these three isn't really going to the dinner party and having Van Helsing confrontation. So
I like that he brings the plague with it. That's part of the lore, that his ship comes.
The Germanness of that is where it differs.
And it's the rats that bring the plague. All the rats descend off the ship, and everybody's like, "Oh my god!" Did Eggers do the whole carrying my coffin?
No, he did not do that.
Oh man,
maybe in the extended cut, we'll see, but not in this version.
I think they think that's rather funny or whatever it is, but Dracula being the Romanian lord and trying to tie it into the historical aspect. That's why you had all those, they're called Bulgars, or I'm not sure what they are, all his helpers, that there's people that help and stuff. Even the guys that helped in the last voyage of the Demeter that we watched and stuff, all those people loyal to Dracula. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nosferatu doesn't have none of that. He's just himself.
I've grown a little more appreciation for that last voyage of the Demeter because of the tight story of just being on that ship. And I kind of like the end of that movie when they're in the bar and he kind of the doctor sees what appears to be Nosferatu kind of hidden in the
Dracula
bar.
Knows. He knows all, right?
But he's mingling, like you said, which is
right. At this point,
a little different for an Nosferatu.
He's resuscitated himself on enough people and blood.
I got to pause for a second. So my wife just sent me some stuff. She says Adam Lambert for Goblin King, if you guys know who that is, or Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston, but then the Goblin King is really Loki.
Yeah, and then yes, absolutely. And then she said if you're going for straight up looks, you could cast Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton would be one of those.
Got such a range.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could
see. Oh my god!
Twist.
Maybe the story takes place with the Goblin Queen, and it's his sister, and then I'll buy that. So,
yeah, right. Then I'm actually speechless. Wow, that's pretty good. Sorry, guys, didn't mean to interrupt the flow. Circle it back to what you guys are doing, Nosferatu and the helpers, and him being alone in the plague and stuff. So that aspect of it was it's glossed over. It's in the background of this new one. Like it's always there in the background.
They look at the ship for a half a second and they go, the rats and the plague, and then people are dying. They really explore the plague thing in the Herzog version. They do a little more with that.
Yeah. I think they do the whole coffin carrying the Herzog version.
They
too.
do.
Like that's,
He carries a coffin right in front of a bunch of crosses in front of a church. So I don't know how that works. It looks great though, but it's
it does. Yeah. Well, the Herzog version also, the vampire obviously continues his curse, if you will.
right.
He can pass on his infection.
Yeah, that's
to others.
it. He does his own spin on the ending. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
Which
did enjoy that.
I've come to really, really love.
I like
in
that a
my
lot.
years now. I do too. So, but there's that whole what lore are we believing? If you kill the original host, it kills all. It cures it. I don't know. So
you have to establish your movie's rules for it.
Yeah. So the fact that they did that at the end, and that dude just booked. He's like, I'm going back to Romania or whatever it was. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So
that
we
was an
didn't even
interesting
get
ending.
that kind of stuff with Eggers. You know what I mean? You got.
And we never, none of these.
You
really...
didn't get the Nicholas Holt. He just resolved his stuff. He didn't really talk about it, right? Like he got bit. Like he was getting feasted on.
Right. Yeah.
But nothing ever came of that. He just kind of came back home and was like, okay.
And this Nosferatu is not a neck Nosferatu. He's a chew on your heart Nosferatu.
Yeah, which is all right.
Which is different, right? Yeah.
The one scene with him sucking all that stuff in was really, I was like, that's good.
It's very, it's a even more intimate act than biting someone's neck. So,
well, first of all, the whole vampire thing about vampires and women, I am such a champion of a director or film lore where they just feast, whether it be male, child, female, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think Anne Rice really brought that out with the whole, with guys feasting on guys. It didn't matter to them. It's just that lifestyle. So all this romanticism that just focused on, vampires going after females seems kind of weird. I think we've modernized that after Nosferatu and the original Dracula and all that stuff.
Right.
Because to them, it's just spreading the plague,
I was kind of creeped out a little, I guess, to put it bluntly, by
it should be disturbing, right?
Yeah, it's disturbing how he treats her. It's very invasive, and it was not like we talk about comparing it to other Draculas or whatever, where there's this romantic, I need to be with you through time and all that. It's not like that. It's like, I'm going to mess with you. So
it's a little there's a little bit of grooming in it.
Yeah, just a little bit.
It feels like there's a little. It feels kind of rapey.
Yeah.
So, and I was disappointed in the ending. It wasn't as, I don't know. It was more powerful that he disintegrates. Like that was VFX style. You're like, oh, okay, but like he just shows up and, all right, I'm here. Let's get this going. Even though she's like, all right, like I don't know. I don't know, man. I wanted dialogue. I wanted I got to hold off till the cock crows 3 times or whatever, just, I don't know. I didn't get that tense build up to the end where it's like, is he going to know? Not going to know? Is he going to stop? Is he going to flee?
Like the Herzog one really has her going, like he's feasted and he's getting ready to leave. And she's like, no, come back for some more because the sun's not out yet. Right.
Dude. Yeah. If I can recommend, guys, I don't know why it didn't pop into my head before. You got to check out Shadow of the Vampire, starring Willem Dafoe as Count Orlok, or as Max Schreck, playing Count Orlok.
It's fun.
That film's got to be in a top 5. Like and that one has that at the end. Even though it's the story of Murnau filming Nosferatu, it still has that tensity at the end where you're like, so you're gonna leave before the sun comes up. You want that. So. Not to take anything away from Eggers. I mean, visually, he looked visually throughout the whole thing, even up to the end. And we get the disintegration thing. Although, to me, that's out of place. We don't talk about vampires. We didn't talk about the garlic and crosses and crucifixes. And we didn't talk about the standards that the lore that fights them. I don't know where the whole sunlight thing came from. I don't know if it was discussed that he's cursed and, if you can keep him before, like Defoe said something about a legend or whatever, keep him before the cock crows 3 times or whatever. And I was like, okay, where'd that come from though? Like, is he just a learned man and knew that?
Well, they set up that he's super learned in the occult. So in mystic ways. So every time it snowed in the movie, it looked beautiful.
Yeah.
Again, it's a beautiful looking film and it's,
A shot of Nicholas Hoult with the crossroads of the forest was like a painting. It was amazing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I guess I want to do a cut to the chase really quick because I got to hear the crate version of this. Like, what do we do our crate?
Our 5 crates is the best crate.
Dude, I want to hear it right now. Like, Jim, you go ahead, start. Like, what are you going to give it for crates?
This Nosferatu movie was not what I was looking for. So, and that's a me thing. It may be what you are looking for out there if you're listening. I'll give it 3.5 crates. This isn't something I'm going to own. This probably isn't something I'm going to go.
That's a good thought.
I was really trying to talk myself into seeing it a second time because I'm like, what did I miss? Yeah, was I too on edge because I wanted it to be a good movie that I couldn't enjoy it?
Right.
But that's it for me. 3.5 crates of Transylvanian dirt.
You kind of hit it all on the heads. It's not what I was expecting because I went into it with everybody knows my love of the vampire genre, and I really wanted it to be something that's not. And about halfway through, I thought, I don't think I would own this on home physical media because I don't know.
Tough call.
I don't know if it's going to be a waste of money, but how often would I return to this? So I guess, do I give it extra points for visual? Like I'm sure you did, Jim, and the direction and all that, but I got to go with 3. I'm a firm holder at 3 crates for this. I treat it more as a parody now. I imitate the voices from my wife. She tells me to shut the fuck up, because so when it's a movie like that now that it's become a joke, with his voice, I'm like, oh man. So
and the extended version that they're flaunting about may get me to watch it again, but that's unless something drastically changes in it.
Right.
That I'm.
Well, Bob, did you see it twice or only once?
No, but I'm really curious to see how I feel after seeing it twice. I think it might change my opinion.
Yeah, I might have to wait to streaming and then put some time and watch it. But what's going to happen to me? I already know. I'm going to watch it and go, oh my god, this thing looks gorgeous. Like it's gonna cement that even more. I'm gonna be like, man, this thing is beautiful, and look at that, and even at the home screen and stuff. And then I'm still gonna come away going, it's not my movie.
My rating, you're going to have to go to my brand new Letterboxd account to check it out.
Hey!
That's my resolution for this year, is to get a Letterboxd account going. So sorry, folks, you're going to have to go check it out there. No, I gave it 3 stars, and it's mainly because of Egger's production value and the performances and actors that I really like. The Foe probably gets a 1/4 of a star right there, just bumping that thing up. So yeah, I'm at 3, and like I said, I like to see it again to get a fresh second view with knowing what to expect a bit more and not be overhyped. And then as far as buying it, I'm really on the fence. I wouldn't go for like a steel book or some special thing, but if I get a good deal on it, maybe because I have a Eggers collection. I have all his movies.
All right, folks. Well, you know what? If you have a chance, I recommend you going to check out Nosferatu on the big screen. If it's still playing somewhere at your local cinema, go check that out. It's worth a look. It's worth at least a one-time watch. There's a line that I keep using, probably driving everybody crazy. I think I told you, Jim, about it, about the Pretty Woman line about his thing with opera. It fits to this. Just look up Richard Gere, Pretty Woman's speech about opera. It's like, I translate it to this movie. Either you can love it, or you don't, but you still appreciate it. It just won't be part of your soul. And what Jim's talking about that Nosferatu 1922, that's that opera crowd. They are like, this is in their soul. It's going to be with them forever and stuff.
Right,
so,
right.
But I think we appreciate it and we do like it. It's just not going to creep into our souls the way it has some people out there.
And that's not a bad thing. If you like it, great.
Yeah, let us know how you feel about it.
Absolutely. As my daughter says,
why you do or don't.
Yeah, somebody's worst movie is always somebody's best movie.
Absolutely it is.
Thanks for watching, everyone. And if you like and enjoy this podcast and this episode, like and subscribe to our channel and check us out on social media on our Instagram and Facebook page where you can interact with us, and hopefully we can have a fun conversation about what's happening in movies and pop culture and TV and whatnot. So thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. And I think we got a episode maybe of reviewing the 4K of The Keep. I think we have that on our front burner.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
it's coming up.
Look forward to that one.
It's going to be a weird one.
That'll be fun. We'll see everyone next time, right, on the Fandom Outpost. And with that, I'm Bob.
Jim.
And I am Mark.
We'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.